I walked into my own kitchen and found a stranger photographing the inside of my refrigerator, like it was evidence she had a clipboard, a cheap blazer, and the kind of smile that says rules are whatever I say they are. And by sundown, there were black SUVs in my driveway, with men in suits quoting fines big enough to gut a savings account. She called it a compliance inspection, tagged my toaster, measured my counters with a laser, and when I asked for ID, she lifted her phone and filmed me aggressive. Homeowner behavior, she narrated possible instability. Then she knocked my mug off the island and said, "Accidents happen during inspections, yeah." That happened. Her name was Monica Blake, HOA president of Hawthorne Grove, and in 3 minutes she decided my kitchen was a federal problem, my mailbox was a public hazard, and my life should be rearranged to prove I knew my place. I moved to Hawthorne Grove because it looked easy. Quiet streets, trimmed hedges, welcome baskets with sugar cookies. And I told everyone I did freelance editing because I wanted walks at dusk, and the sound of sprinklers, wanted to be another neighbor waving at trash day. Instead, I was standing in my own house, while a stranger rifled my mail and taped neon stickers to my shelves, telling me to pay in 24 hours to avoid escalated action. You know what I mean? The letterhead looked almost real. Seal and all the kind of paper that thwaps when you flick it. Fines lined up like a menu. Kitchen modifications, mailbox, clearance, inspection, interference. And when I called the number, it went to a voicemail tree with a man introducing himself as the coordinator for the National Community Housing Authority, which is something that sounds real if you have never stepped inside an actual federal building. I checked our HOA rules online. Paint colors, lawn height, garbage can day. Nothing about entering homes, nothing about emergency powers, nothing about laser measuring my countertop like it could explode. I slept about an hour and woke to the hiss of air leaving a tire. Not one tire, all four, each sliced with the same X, and the word violation spray painted across my windshield in red that looked extra dramatic in morning light. Under the wiper in tidy script, continued non-compliance will increase enforcement. HOA management. Mrs. Patel hovered near the sidewalk like a movie extra waiting for her line, then leaned in and whispered that Monica cut her roses at night and threatened to call child services if she complained. Mr. Alvarez said they told him his fence was 2 inches high, and if he fought it, they'd have his dog labeled aggressive. Another neighbor mentioned a driveway violation with a price tag that looked like rent. The pattern was clean. Invent a rule wave. A letter hit the softest spot. Get paid or escalate. By 10, a pickup rolled up behind Monica, and 2 guys in yellow vests jumped out with HOA enforcement stenciled across the back. Cameras and clipboards, all posture and theater moving around my property, like they had orders from Washington. When the only place they had orders from was Monica's clipboard. "You have 48 hours to correct violations," she said, naming a county statute that actually belongs to dog licensing. Her voice smooth, like a sales pitch, sharpened with sandpaper. Then she leaned in close and added, "Nice job you have. Would be a shame if certain concerns reached the right ears." Which is the kind of thing you say when you think a whisper is stronger than a warrant. That night, the clubhouse looked like a classroom for scared adults. Rows of folding chairs, a projector humming, and a slide deck titled Community Compliance, the Evan Cole Case Study. Photos of my kitchen, my yard, my mailbox, all labeled like exhibits, and a red arrow pointing right at my fridge like it started wars. Monica worked the remote laser pointer circling charts about falling property values and neighborhoods punished for resistance, and if you squinted you could almost believe it. Because fear is a great editor, and it cuts out the part where she has no legal authority. I stood up and spoke like a person who has been on both sides of a courtroom door. Calm and specific, show me the statute. Show me your certification number. Show me the agency that issued your credentials. And the room went so quiet you could hear the soda machine in the hall thump through a refill cycle. Monica smiled larger. Which is what bluffers do when someone asks for cards. Are you questioning federal procedure? She said that attitude triggers escalated enforcement. Then she clicked to a slide with big red seized stamps that would fool anyone whose entire understanding of government comes from TV. Tomorrow at 9 a.m., the federal enforcement team will conduct a comprehensive action, she said, and neighbors turned to look at me like I had invited the wolf. At precisely 9. Right on the dot, like a stage cue. 3 black SUVs rolled up to my curb. Men in dark suits got out with earpieces and clipboards, and a swagger. You only learn from binge-watching police dramas. The lead one flashed a badge that looked legitimate from 10 feet Agent Turner National Housing Compliance Task Unit. Inspection under Section 94 Delta. And inside my chest, a switch flipped from resident to prosecutor. Because sometimes a lie is so neat, you can see the seam. Which department, I asked HUD Justice Treasury, and he gave me interagency with a micro stall, then named a field office that doesn't exist, while his partner photographed my couch like furniture can violate federal code. Monica chimed in with color commentary. The Ramirez family paid after immigration verification came up. The Bennetts moved fast when scholarships entered the chat, and my phone in my shirt pocket recorded every word, because if you insist on performing your crimes, the least I can do is make sure the audience hears you. Fines read like a price list at a car lot. Mailbox variance, kitchen misalignment, vegetation encroachment. Total $6,950 cash, or cashier's check only. And the subtext was the text. Pay up or watch your world tilt. By evening, Monica had the community center set for the big closer, a ledger projected on the wall, with names and balances. Agent Turner tapping a tablet to advance the totals. Alvarez, 3,900. Patel, 5,600. Henderson, 6,400. And every number hit like a slap. I stood, palms not steady. Voice steady anyway, and asked Turner to display his credentials for everyone, which is where the script usually ends for people who don't know they have the right to ask. Monica cut in to frame me as the problem. His resistance is why we're here, and that was my cue. I took out the leather case I keep hidden, because I don't lead with it. Flipped it open, so the first 2 rows could see the crest and the seal, and the name. My name is Evan Cole. Former Assistant United States Attorney, and there is no federal agency called the National Housing Compliance Task Unit. These badges are fake. These fines are counterfeit. And what you have been doing is organized fraud. Under color of authority. And right then, the spell broke like a soap bubble. Gasps at the back wall, shoulders rising. Neighbors turning their heads to look at one another instead of her. Monica tried the usual scramble. He's unstable. Check his meds. And I tapped play, filling the room with her voice bragging about immigration threats and scholarship leverage and audits that move a homeowner from no to yes. Turner took a half step toward the exit, and 2 dads from the 3rd row shifted their weight and happened to be standing in his way. Funny how that works. I had already filed with the county sheriff and the state attorney general. Recordings, letters, stills of the badge, a list of witnesses. No favors called, just facts delivered. And when the double doors opened, and 3 deputies walked in with that quiet authority that cannot be faked, the room didn't cheer. It exhaled. We have reports of impersonation, extortion, and trespassing. The lead deputy said. Anyone acting as a federal agent present. Your credentials and the fluorescent lights seemed suddenly loud. Monica tried to pivot. Partnership with... And the deputy asked her, polite but firm, to set down the clipboard. Then asked again with steel under the politeness. And when the cuffs clicked, you could hear the metal. Nothing else. Turner and his partner followed plastic badges zipped into an evidence bag that looked insulted to be involved. The projector still showed columns of names and fake balances until someone pulled the plug and the screen went black. Statements were taken. Photos exchanged, letters passed hand to hand, and you could feel a neighborhood relearning how to breathe by telling the truth out loud. Here's the twist inside the victory, and it's not pretty. Fake authority leaves real stains. Banks wanted letters before unlocking refinances. One buyer walked from a sale because he saw the words HOA investigation on a blog post and didn't read far enough to learn the target was fraudsters. A couple insurance claims got tossed into review just because they could. And cleaning that up took time and energy that nobody budgets for when they buy a house with a cute porch and a maple tree out front. Real agencies moved in the right way, quiet, methodical, precise. And I handed over what I had, then went back to my walks at dusk, and my sprinklers, and the life I thought I wanted, while the HOA scheduled a special election, and people who never raised their hand raised both. Which is how communities are supposed to work. If you want the Hollywood ending, you'll be disappointed. There was no parade, no slow clap. But there was something better, a kind of click in the spine where fear had been, and the understanding that asking for proof is not being difficult, it's being decent to yourself. And here's the part that gets people arguing at dinner. Where is the line between protecting property values and policing people? When does a rulebook become a weapon? Who should hold the clipboard? And who gets to say, stop, show me your authority? And what happens when they can't? Drop your take in the comments and tell me if you've seen an HOA get it right or go off the rails. Share what you would have done at my kitchen island when the mug hit the floor. And if this hit a nerve, subscribe. Send it to the neighbor who needs to hear they're not crazy for asking questions. Because in neighborhoods like ours, the fastest way to end a performance is to turn on the house lights and say, show me the law. Then watch who blinks first.